That doesn't mean that she doesn't know anything about good fathers. She happens to be married to one. The Duchess of Sussex wrote a children's book on fatherhood, inspired by Harry and Archie. Now, she is a New York Times best-selling author for her charming book about parenting with non-toxic masculinity. The story has reached the coveted #1 spot on the New York Times children's book list. What's more is that it took only 1 week for the book to get there after being published. As anyone rightfully should when marking such a milestone. Meghan is in a celebratory mood. The beloved Duchess took to her and her husband's Archewell site. Remarkable to think that what began as a simple poem about Harry and Archie grew into such a success. While this poem began as a love letter to my husband and son, Meghan began. She continued, I'm encouraged to see that its universal themes of love, representation, and inclusivity are resonating with communities everywhere. Meghan expressed, in many ways, pursuing a more compassionate and equitable world begins with these core values. Meghan also explained what motivated her to take what began as a private expression of love and make it public. Equally, to depict another side of masculinity, she began to explain her motive. Meghan noted that this side of masculinity is one grounded in connection, emotion, and softness. Meghan wrote that this is to model a world that so many would like to see. She added that many would like to see this for their sons and daughters alike. Thank you for supporting me in this special project, Meghan expressed to her fans. Within the book is a small illustration of Harry holding the small hand of their 2-year-old son, Archie. There is another illustration of father and son feeding the chickens. Nearby, a depiction of Meghan can be seen wearing a sun hat while carrying a baby in a sling. It is adorable that baby Lily is already receiving a tribute in her mother's work. After all, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor was only born a couple of weeks ago, on June 4. But then, they had months of foreknowledge that they would likely have already welcomed their daughter before the book was published. Masculinity is a complicated subject, as it involves complex and sometimes contradictory norms and expectations. These, like related concepts of gender, social roles, and parenting, vary widely between cultures. Anything, even oxygen, even water itself can reach toxic levels at which it begins to cause harm. Masculinity is no exception. Men cry. Men love their children. Men have tender feelings and might like cute things. Toxic masculinity seeks to rob men of this, dictating which emotions are expressed and how. We will never know how many artists, singers, caregivers, dancers, and more never shared their gifts with the world because they were told that it was girly. And like so many things, toxic masculinity is too often passed down from father to son, but sometimes, people break that pernicious cycle. It's funny that the Duchess should remark upon this, because one of her most vocal haters has always been Piers Morgan.